The first time I heard Rage Against the Machine, I wasn't very certain of what Zach was saying, but I felt what he was saying. And that's the intuitive power of music. When you're working on a piece of music, you already know what the topic's going to be, because if you're far off, then it just doesn't match. So I think the music predetermines its own theme based on the vibe of it. It's such an intuitive medium that it begs you for certain words, for certain themes. I've always believed, and I continue to, that, you know, all art is part of our collective consciousness and it comes to us. We don't create anything as artists. We're skilled presenters of that, you know, muse. It's a learned thing that you become a skilled presenter of something like that. But the inspiration is out there for all of us to imbibe. I used to write. Poetry was there early on with the music. It's a very intimate process, more so than music, I consider. When you play a song, it's almost as if you know that someone's going to listen to it, whether it's your family or the whole world. But with poetry, it feels like that's in your head, you know? There's a certain intimacy to it that's different. In the early days when I was writing songs, a lot of my poems made themselves into songs. There was a myriad of different topics, from political to social to anything. And sometimes you would just glean a phrase, you know, and that phrase would help you write that particular song. Art should encompass everything. It shouldn't be narrowed down to one particular topic or genre. It's doing it injustice by narrowing it down in that way. Use it, whatever. I like that. Wow, wow, wow. The System of a Down's process has changed. So earlier on, I guess with our first record, Darren brought in most of the music, and I brought in pretty much all of the lyrics. Over time, Darren became a better lyricist. He started writing more lyrics, and I became a better musician, so I started writing more songs. And so there was more music coming in. But that also created tension, because we no longer had isolated spaces for our whatever we're bringing in. And some of that tension's really good, because when you look at amazing bands, there's a yin and yang always pulling. Without that, there won't be a balance. With System, the process that did stay the same was we would always work things out in the rehearsal studio, then we would go record into a recording studio. Obviously, you get your master takes with the drums, and then you do all your overdubs with guitar, bass, vocals, keyboards. Versus my solo stuff, where I didn't have a band. So, you know, when I first started writing, I hadn't even worked and hired the guys from the FCC, so it was just me. I would write, you know, a guitar part with a vocal melody, and it was usually acoustic guitar and vocals or piano and vocals with Elected Dead. You could strip everything down to those. And then I would add electric guitar and then start bringing in some drum loops just to get a vibe of what drums I want, and then, you know, bass, and build onto it. So the process in that sense of doing a rock record without a rock band was quite different. There's positive things about both. When you're a solo artist and you have a vision, then doing it in one room yourself is actually more effective. But when you're working with a band where you're sharing that vision, and there's a unique communique and a unique kind of specialty that each person brings, you can never take a loop. Even if you play exactly what John Dolmayan plays, his swing that he puts into it is going to be different. So I think working it out in the studio, rehearsal studio, in that way, where everyone's really basically cooking their own part of what they're doing within a piece of music, within a song, worked in that sense. The difference with film scoring versus writing a solo record is with a film, you have other collaborators. Your director or your producers, whoever makes the decision on the score, is your collaborator. And it's a whole different process, which I really enjoy. With film score, what you need to do first is understand the vision of the filmmaker. By talking to them and doing, you know, spotting of the film, where they want the music, what they have in mind, what emotions they want to portray, what's the instrumentation that they like. You know, do you like guitar or do you like cello or both? You know, I usually write a few themes just based on a script or an idea or a conversation, just to see if I'm in the right ballpark of what they're thinking tonally. Now, once you lock in that sound and you know your themes are in the right place, then when you get picture, whether it's final lock or not, you're already giving them what they're going to anticipate. Now, being creative within limitations, to me at this point in my life after making a bunch of records without any limitations is actually a welcome kind of thing, because to me it's like it helps me get on point, you know? For example, this is the film, and we do a tempo map, and you know that this is the tempo of the scene, you know? Temp music is helpful with the tempo mapping. You're not going to use the temp music, or you might not like where they're going with the temp music, but you know, it's helpful to understand what they have in mind. It makes things a lot easier as far as composing. As far as what advice I would give to a young artist or musician, it's always really just follow that vision. Wake up in the morning and whatever excites you, whether it's a piece of music or a painting or a concept or whatever it is, follow that. It's that excitement that's going to take you through all this time, because being an artist is, you know, I mean, I'm grateful and I'm thankful for the life that I have, but it's not a steady road, you know? And for most, it's a dangerous road, you know, especially for political artists, you know, in different countries. But if you look at artists throughout generations in different countries in terms of social movements, they've been at the forefront of it. And why? Because they're always listening to that muse, because they're always listening to that collective consciousness and that truth that comes from it. And so when you don't listen to that, then you're not an artist, you're just a musician.